Silksong is only a week away, but before we say our heartfelt goodbyes to good old Hollow Knight 1, let's try to sort out a few last misconceptions about the game. I'm Holland, and this is Hollow Knight Mythbusting. Claim number 1. Grim takes reduced damage while in bat form. In the first myth-busting episode, I joyously confirmed the myth that you can hit Grim during his bat phase. However, to my surprise, almost everyone seemed to already know about that one, which made me feel kind of silly. But perhaps less surprisingly, no one could seem to agree on exactly how much damage Grim actually takes when hit in his bat phase. So let's finally sort out whether it's actually worth hitting Grim while he's a bat. Now, to start off with, even if hitting Grim dealt no damage, it does award you soul, and so far as you don't need to heal, you should definitely be hitting him if only for that reason. But when it comes to whether you can actually damage him during this phase, I've heard 4 theories. Yes, 4. Number 1. Grim takes no damage while in bat form. Number 2. Grim takes reduced damage while in bat form. Number 3. Grim takes full damage while in bat form, but the damage is only applied once he exits this form. And number 4. Grim takes full damage while in bat form. Using a mod to showcase the health bar of bosses, I was able to test out what actually happens when you hit Grim during the bat phase. I could drag out the conclusion for a dramatic effect, but I'll spare you. The answer appears to be number 3. Grim takes full damage while in bat form, but the damage is only applied once he exits the form. Which is probably the most exciting of them all, so hooray for us. Now you might be asking yourself, why does it work like this? Why doesn't Grim just take damage as normal? Well, a theory I've heard somebody suggest, which sounded quite likely, is that Grim is not supposed to be killable in this state. So rather than making a custom death animation for him in bat form, or dealing with whatever bugs might occur from making him transform mid-stagger, the developers simply decided to only apply the damage you deal to him while in bat form after he returns to normal. Now again, that's only a theory, but it makes a lot of sense to me. So you just keep hitting Grim while he's a bat. It's definitely worth it. Myth busted. Claim number 2. You can hit switches from the wrong side. Now, in the first episode, I investigated whether it was possible to hit levers from the wrong side. After a few attempts using Long Nail and Mark of Pride, it seemed pretty obvious that Team Cherry had fixed this issue, because, as everyone reminded me in the comments, this is possible in older patches of the game. And you know, I was feeling pretty good about myself for busting that myth, however, people weren't letting up. Some of you suggested using // to trigger switches from the wrong side, while others pointed to a specific lever in the resting grounds, which could apparently still be hit from underneath. Who was right? Who was wrong? Well, it turns out both groups were right. While some levers do appear to be inaccessible even using // I found this one in the Soul Sanctum, which could be hit through a wall, skipping a large part of the room. Cool! And in regard to the lever in the resting grounds, you can still very much hit that one from underneath its platform. Well done, comment section. Turns out some of you are pretty clever after all. Myth confirmed. Claim number 3. The cast-off shell escape sequence can kill you. So previously we learned that there is in fact no time pressure when the cast-off shell starts to crumble. You can leave as quickly or as slowly as you want to. But as you're leaving, rocks start to fall from the ceiling, and one of these rocks is actually capable of damaging you for 1 mask. So that got me thinking, what if you made it past Hornet with only 1 mask remaining? Would that rock then kill you, and you effectively need to beat Hornet with 2 or more masks to truly make it past this part of the game? Well, no actually. Funnily enough, if you get to this part with only 1 mask remaining, the rock will spare you and not deal any damage. That's some mighty fine plot armor you've got there, little knight. Myth busted. Claim number 4. You can break out of certain sequences using Dreamgate. This is a myth that one of you people suggested, and I found it very intriguing. Given that the Dreamgate was added as DLC, Might there be any important part of the game where Team Cherry forgot to make it unusable? Can you sequence break using the Dreamgate? So I tried using Dreamgate to escape the cast-off shell while it was collapsing, but that didn't work. After that, I tried escaping the mandatory exploration section you get after defeating the Soul Master. Now, you're unable to use the Dreamgate while inside of the Soul Master's combat arena, but if you just exit one room to the left, you're able to skip the entire section. I don't know why you would have the Dreamgate before defeating the Soul Master, but I believe it is technically possible, so that means the theory is confirmed. Let me know down below if you know of any other Dreamgate sequence breaks. Claim number 5. Nail arts benefit from strength, long nail, and or mark of pride. In the first clip here, you can see long nail and mark of pride having no influence on the length of the Great Slash. And then with the health bar mod, it's also apparent that strength has no effect. Myth busted. Claim number 6. The Hollow Knight takes reduced damage while stabbing himself. You've likely heard speedrunners of the game talk about this before, that while the Hollow Knight is fighting back at the infection inside his body, he takes significantly reduced damage. I'm not sure how people figured this out without the use of mods to be able to see the boss's health or the player's damage, but alas, showing a health bar does in fact reveal that the Hollow Knight takes reduced damage while in this cinematic state. So consider spending this time to heal instead of attacking the boss. Unless you have full health and just need soul, I suppose. Myth confirmed. Alright, this is kind of weird. If you kill a spiny husk with a spell, it won't put out its spikes to hurt you. Usually upon death, this is what happens, and you'll have to get rid of the corpse by hitting it a few extra times. But here's the strange thing. If you slay the husk with a spell, you're still able to hit the corpse, even though it looks just like any other regular corpse. It appears to keep that functionality where you can hit it after death, even though it doesn't actually pose any post-mortem threat. Intentional or not, this is definitely possible. Free soul for us, I suppose. Myth confirmed. Claim number 8. There's more than one way to modify your hitbox. It's been said that you can look down to shrink the size of your hitbox. However, in the first myth-busting episode, I tested whether this was true, and it does in fact appear to be a myth. But are there other ways to decrease or even increase the size of your hitbox? While using focus? Nope, looks like it stays the same. While using Desolate Dive? Doesn't look like it. How about Crystal Dash? Well, it's a bit hard to make out because you're going so fast, but slowing the clip down, you can just about make out the size of a regular hitbox. Nothing new here. And finally, Shape of Un does actually decrease the size of your hitbox, and as far as I know, it's the only thing that changes the size of the player's hitbox. But you let me know if I'm wrong about that. Myth busted. Claim number 9. Sprint Master improves Weaverling DPS. And finally, this one I heard suggested just around a week ago, and I simply had to test it. Many of you will know that putting on Sprint Master makes the Weaverlings from Silksong move at supersonic speed. It's a quirky little synergy that makes you go, huh? But then you think about it for a second and you ask yourself, why though? What is the point of this synergy? Well, that's when someone in the comments suggested that perhaps, given that the Weaverlings now move faster, they might also be able to attack faster, so I just had to test that out. But how exactly was I gonna do that? First, I went into a boss fight with health bars turned on to see which of the two configurations, Weaverlings with and without Sprint Master, would put down the boss faster. But given that the boss may randomly teleport outside the Weaverlings' range, this didn't feel very scientific. So instead, I opted for the slightly more scientific method of having them strike at this dummy in the Kingdom's Edge and then manually counting how many attacks each group gets to perform within a 20-second time span. Yes, I know, much more rigorous methodology. After counting the number of attacks a few times, I found that the leftmost group of Weaverlings had performed around 26 to 28 attacks within 20 seconds, while the rightmost group had made around 22 to 23 attacks. Is this very precise measurement? Definitely not, but given that, if anything, the results favor the Weaverlings without Sprint Master, I think it's safe to say that Sprint Master does not in fact increase the attack speed of the Weaverlings. This is just a guess, but I think that each critter has an attack cooldown before it may swipe again. And unless Sprintmaster alters this cooldown, which does not appear to be the case, both groups are still limited to the same maximum number of attacks per minute. Now, I don't think we can conclude that Sprintmaster makes the Weaverlings attack less often, given just how unscientific this experiment really was. But if that were the case, I imagine it's because they overshoot the training dummy by going so fast. And as such, they're having a harder time quickly re-engaging, thus resulting in overall fewer attacks. So why would you ever combine these two charms? Who knows? If you have a good reason, I'd actually love to hear it. For now, that's another myth busted. Another myth busted, and the last one before Silksong releases. Thank you so much for watching, and be sure to check out the other 2 myth-busting episodes if you haven't already. I've linked them down below. If you're looking forward to more of this sort of scripted, carefully edited content for Silksong, you should definitely consider subscribing to the channel. I'm so excited to have you all along for the ride. With that said, I'm Holland, and I hope you have a wonderful day.
Bye!